ahead and get started and try to help you with your homework. If you are having any problems, the directions for numbers 7 through 15 say to evaluate the expression. So here we go. X equals 3, so where the X is, I'm going to put a 3. So parentheses 3 minus 5. Of course, this is a positive 3, so I really have a positive 3 and a negative 5. So I have $3, but I owe 5, so I pay 3, so I still owe $2. So the answer is negative 2. Number 9. Everywhere there's an A, I'm going to substitute 2. Everywhere there's a B, I'm going to substitute 20. So here we go. 50, then parentheses, and for A, I'm going to substitute 2. Then negative 2B, so negative 2, then parentheses for B, and then substitute 20, and then positive 6. Okay, let's simplify. There's no powers, roots, or absolute values. So next I'll do my multiplication and division. Here's a multiplication problem. Here's a multiplication problem. 50 times 2 is 100. Watch your signs here. Negative 2 times a positive 20 is a negative 40. Then bring down your positive 6. So I have a positive 100. So I have $100 plus 6 more. I have 106. And I owe 40. So if I owe 40 and I pay 106, I am a positive 66. Positive 66. Moving on to number 11. Everywhere there's an M, I'm going to substitute 25. So here's an M, parentheses, 25. Then positive 2. So positive 2. Then a big parentheses. Then inside M minus 5. So where the M is, I'll put a 25. And then minus or negative 5. Okay. Well, as I look at this, I don't see any powers, roots, or absolute values. However, I do see I've got some parentheses with work that I've got to do here on the inside. So I'm going to bring down my 25. Now, it was important to always put parentheses when I made a substitution, but I can see now these parentheses here are really irrelevant, okay? I mean, parentheses around a 25 is still just a 25. Bring down your positive 2. Then inside here I have a positive 25 minus 5. 25 minus 5, that would be 20. And now next, don't add, okay? You want to multiply next. So you would have 25, and then watch your signs. Positive times a positive is positive. 2 times 20 is 40. Add those together, and you will get 65, okay? Moving on to number 13. Everywhere there's an X, I'm going to substitute 14. Everywhere there's a Y, I'm going to substitute 1/3. So 2X, that's 2, parentheses 14. Then divided by. Then I've got a big parentheses, so I'll put a really big parentheses. Inside it's 13 minus 9Y. So 13, or negative 9, you could say 13, negative 9 times, and then where the Y is, I'll put, here's the Y, I put 1/3, okay? So, I guess you can go ahead and multiply these two numbers together if you want to. 2 times 14 is 28, that's fine to do, but the main thing we want to do is work inside the parentheses here, okay? So I have 13 negative 9 times 1/3, so do your multiplication first. I have a negative times a positive, that's a negative, and 9 times 1/3 is 3. Use a calculator if you need to, okay? 9 times 1/3 is 3. So now I have 13 minus 3, or 13 negative 3, which would be 10. So 28 divided by 10. Well, use a calculator if you need to. 28 divided by 10 would be 2.8. Number 15. Alright, I've got a big parentheses right here, so I'll put that first. And then 20A, A equals 2. So 20A, 20 times 2, negative 1. Then divided by B. So divided by, parentheses for B, 13. Now, let's work inside the parentheses. You would multiply first. 20 times 2 is 40. Minus 1 is 39. 20 times 2 is 40. Minus 1 is 39. So I would have 39 that's positive divided by a positive 13. Well, a positive divided by a positive is a positive, and 39 divided by 13 is 3. Moving on to numbers 17 through 19. We're going to take this expression here and substitute a number into the expression. So here we're going to substitute 7 in for x. So 12 parentheses 7 divided by, then put a big parentheses, and then parentheses 7 for your x right here, negative 1. Well, 12 times 7 is 84 divided by 7 minus 1 would be, or 7 negative 1 would be 6. So 84 divided by 6, which would be 14. So the answer is 14. Number 19. Now we're going to substitute 3 in for x. Okay, x equals 3. So 12 parentheses 3 divided by, and then a big parentheses, x minus 1, or in other words, 3 minus 1. Well, 12 times 3 is 36 divided by 3, a positive 3 and a negative 1, or 3 minus 1, however you want to look at it, would be 2. 36 divided by 2 is 18, and that is the correct answer. Alright, numbers 21 and 23, you're allowed to use a calculator, so we're going to take advantage of that and use a calculator. So, and actually on all these problems, you're welcome to use a calculator a little bit to help you with little parts and pieces as you work through the problems, but I really don't want you typing the entire problem into your calculator and hitting enter, okay? Feel free to use your calculator to help you through the problems, but I really want to make sure you know how to use order of operations also. 65.1 times 1.2 minus 0.4, 0.4. Now, we are allowed to use a calculator, so with your calculator, type in 65.1 times 1.2, enter, and then minus 0.4, enter. And if you type that in correctly, you will get that answer right there. Okay. Alright, number 23. Same thing. We're going to use a calculator. Everywhere there's a P, we're going to put 31.5. Everywhere there's a Q, we're going to put 0.8. So 15. Then a big parentheses, 0.5, and then parentheses for P, 31.5. So right here is 0.5, or 0.5, same thing. Then a P, so I put this, then a positive sign, and then a Q, so I put parentheses, and for Q I'm going to put 0.8. Now here's how I would recommend you use your calculator. I would just simply bring down the 15 and put a dot here for multiplication, because the 15 is right next to the parentheses. I would take your calculator and I would type into it 0.5 times 31.5. And then hit plus 0.8, and you will get 16.55. Okay? And now multiply those two together using your calculator, and you should get 248.25. 248.25. Okay? So the last problem, number 21 and number 23, really, to be honest, not too difficult as long as you know how to use your calculator, okay? You're just simply typing those in. Alright, 25 through 29, they want us to write the exponent, write the expression using exponents, so y squared would be y to the second power. X to the third power would obviously be x cubed. 29, we have 6 z's, so z times z times z times z times z times z would be z to the 6th power. Pretty simple. Alright, numbers 31 through 35. We're going to evaluate the expression using substitution. So, s equals 12. Here's s. Now watch what I do, students. I put parentheses for s. I put my 12. Then the 2 goes on the outside right here. Okay? Here's the s. I put a 12. I did put parentheses. Always try to do that, okay? 12 squared means 12 times 12, which is 144. Alright, let's be really careful here. Notice I've got a big parentheses around the 2a with a 2 on the outside. Now inside I have 2a, so 2, then a parentheses, and then 3. Because where a is, I'm going to substitute 3. And then bring down your positive 4. Well, usually you do your exponents first, but understand this 2 goes to everything inside here, so I first must simplify this. So 2 times 3 is 6 to the second power plus 4. 6 times 6 is 36 plus 4, and 36 positive 4 is 40. Alright, moving on to number 35. Everywhere there's a B, I'll put a 1. Everywhere there's a D, I'll put a 9. So I've got 11 right here on the outside of the parentheses. Then put a big parentheses with a power or exponent of 2 on the outside. Now here's a B, so put parentheses and put a 1, then a plus sign, and then parentheses and put a 9. Now, obviously, we have an exponent, but we have to simplify inside the parentheses first so that I know what number I'm raising to the second power. So 11, parentheses, 1 plus 9, positive 1, positive 9, that would be 10 to the second power. Obviously, we do not multiply these next. We do our exponents first. So 10 times 10 is 100. So now I would have 11 times 100. Or you can keep it in parentheses if you want. And of course the answer would be 1100. Alright, moving on to numbers 37 through 43. All of these we're going to simply evaluate, okay? Well, this one's pretty simple. It's just a positive 6 to negative 3 and a positive 1. You can go straight across if you want. You have $6. You pay off a $3 debt, so you're left with a positive 3. Bring down your positive 1. You have $3. You have another $1, so your answer's 4. That's one way to do it. Another way would be to say, okay, I've got $6 and I've got $1. That gives me a positive 7, and then I still owe 3. So I have 6, I have 1, that's 7. Bring down your negative 3. You have $7. You pay off a $3 debt, you're left with $4. Okay? Number 39, okay? I don't see any powers, roots, or absolute values, so I'm going to very simply just go across and do multiplication and division as I see it. Well, here's a multiplication problem. Here's a division problem. Here's a multiplication problem. Now, a positive 20 divided by a positive 5 is a positive 4. Don't just assume you're going to bring this positive sign down. It's a positive 5 times a positive 4. That's a positive 20. Okay? So the answer would be 24. Moving on to number 41. Okay, let's do your multiplication and division first. There they are. So I have 1. Now don't just assume you're going to bring down a positive sign. Remember, if this would have been negative right here, a positive times a negative is then negative 28. Okay? So, we start off with a positive 7 times a positive 4, which is a positive 28. Then bring down your negative 5. Okay, you have $1 plus 28 more, so now you have $29. Then you pay off a $5 debt, and you're left with 24. Alright, so the answer is 24. Now here, I notice right away I have a power, but I can't really simplify the exponent because first of all, I have to simplify inside the parentheses so that I know what number I am raising to the second power. So with that in mind, I'm going to now put this 4 negative parentheses and then a 12. 6 times 2 is 12. Next, I'm going to simplify my powers Now the 4 is not right next to the 12. Look, if the 4 was right next to the 12 like that, then the 4 would be multiplying. So when you brought the 4 down, you put a dot. There's a dot here. So you put a dot here. That's not the case, okay? You've got a minus sign here, a negative sign. So be careful. Bring down your 4. Bring down your negative sign. Now, 12 times 12 is 144. Alright? And then positive 2. Now, the reason this is a negative 144 is because you first of all square the 12, you get 144, but there's a negative on the outside, so it makes the 144 become negative. Alright? Now, I have a positive 4 and a positive 2. That gives me a positive 6 and a negative 144. So you have a debt of 144. You pay off 6, so you still owe $138. Negative 138. Alright, on to the word problem. Now, if you'll carefully read this here, it says, from 1980 to 1994, the average salary of an assistant principal is given by this model, okay, where t equals 0 represents 1980. So what that means is this. Here's my model for an assistant principal. Do you want to know how much money he made? Okay, no problem. For 1980, you would put a 0 in here, okay? And by the way, it's in thousands of dollars, okay? If you want to know how much money the assistant principal made in 1985, now think about it. If 1980 corresponds to what number? 0, then 1985 would correspond with what number? 5. So if you want to know how much money the principal made in 1985, the assistant principal, you would put what in for T? 5. If you want to know how much money the assistant principal made in 1992, well, if 80 is 0, then 92 would be 12. So you put a 12 in for T right here. So this model right here will tell you how much the assistant principal was making based on what year it was. Now there's also a model here for a principal, not an assistant principal, but a regular principal. And here's that model. Same thing, okay? We can put 1980, T corresponds to 0. When T equals 0, that corresponds to 1980 for both of these formulas, okay? And both of these models are in thousands of dollars. So let's see if we can answer some questions. Approximate a high school assistant principal salary in 1992. Okay, we're going to use this formula right here. Because this is the assistant principal formula. In 1992, well, T equals 0 represents 1980, so 12 years later is 1992. So all that you have to do, students, is put a 12 right here for T and use your calculators. 2.2 times 12 plus 25. And if you do that correctly, you will get out 514. Okay, 514. But remember, it's in thousands, so it's going to be 51,400. Actually, I stand corrected. Sorry, students. Please listen to me carefully. If you take 2.2 times 12 plus 25, you will get out this right here. Now watch. You'll get out 51.4. But remember, this formula is in thousands. I mean, there's no way a principal's going to make $51 in an entire year. Or at least let's hope not. So if it's in thousands, what you do when you get this answer is then multiply it by 1,000 to give you out the real salary, and you will get 51,400. Okay, so not too difficult. All right, moving on to number 50. Approximate a high school principal's salary in 1992. So first of all, the salary here is $51,400 in 1992. Now let's find the principal salary in 1992. Same thing. Where the T is, I'm going to substitute 12 for 1992. Now if you take 2.6 times 12, and then add 29, you will get 60.2. But of course that's in thousands, so then take that and multiply it by 1,000, and you will get 60,200. Okay, so let's see if that's right. I hope that it is. Yes, it is. Now listen carefully at number 51. Write a model that gives the ratio of A to P. The ratio of A to P. Now, guys, this sounds really, to some of you it might sound really complex. This is really simple. You're going to like this. It's very easy, okay? Let me use another example to help you, okay? If there were 5 boys in the room and 6 girls, and I said, what's the ratio of boys to girls? You would put a fraction bar. You put the 5 up top and the 6 in the bottom. If I said, what's the ratio of girls to guys? You put a fraction bar, put a 6 up top and a 5 in the bottom. Same thing here. It's that easy. It says, what's the ratio? So put a fraction line of A to P. What does A equal? This. A to P. What's P equal? This. There we go. So there's the ratio of A to P. Here's your A up top right here. Here's your P down here in the bottom. That's the ratio of A to P right there. Okay, not too difficult. Now, evaluate the model found in exercise 51 when T equals 0 and T equals 4. Describe the results in words. Let's take a look at that again. Evaluate the model from 51. So here's your model from 51 right here. Got it? There it is. We're going to take this model and we're going to evaluate it at 0 and then at 4 and describe the results. So I'm going to get some room right here. So we're going to evaluate the model at 0 and then at 4. And of course the model we're using is the one we just came up with from number 51. Okay, so first of all, let's evaluate this thing at 0. So I'll put a line over here, arrow here. Okay, so let's start off with T equals 0. We can do this in our head, guys. If you put a 0 here and a 0 here, what's anything times 0? 0. So 2.2 times 0 is 0, plus 25 would be 25 up top. In the denominator, 2.6 times 0 is 0, plus 29 is 29. So there's your ratio, 25 to 29. Okay, that's the ratio of the assistant principal to the regular principal. Now, let's put a 4 in for T. Okay, so now, instead of putting a 0 for T, I'm going to put a 4 for T. Instead of putting a 0 here, I'm going to put a 4. Now, here we go. Up top, I have 2.2 times 4 plus 25. 2.2 times 4 plus 25 would give you a 33.8. Alright? And then 2.6 times 4 plus 29 would give you 39.4. Now, we did number 52. There's the ratio. So here's the ratio in 1980. Here's the ratio in 1984. Now, it also says describe the results in words. Well, I'm going to do this. I'm going to take 25 and divide it by 29 to get a decimal for this ratio over here. So the decimal for this ratio, 25 divided by 29, is 0.862. Over here, I'm going to take 33.8 0.8 and divide that by 39.4. And the decimal would be 0.857. And I guess the only thing I could see and put it in words would just simply be the ratio of the salaries of the assistant principal and the principal is a ratio that's shrinking, it's getting smaller. Okay, that's all I would put on that. So, okay, guys, I hope that this homework help video has been a help to